Hey guys, welcome back to the GSL Code A. We are in the evening session, and of course I am joined by Caldor as usual. Caldor's been having a tough day. I didn't want to mention it, but you know, it certainly has been a journey for you today, hasn't it?
You were about to ask, how are you today, right?
No. I just want to tell everyone instead how it is in fact that you were doing.
I'm having the most horrible day in weeks. I actually had to wake up last night when I was going to Korea. I actually calculated it a few seconds ago. My whole journey to Korea lasted for I think 22 hours or even more, because I had to wake up like early in the morning to get a train to get to the airport and fly from Frankfurt to Munich. And all of that was fine. That was good. I knew that I had still a little bit of time before I had to cast GOM, double day, everything's fine, I could get a little bit of sleep. And then suddenly my door in the apartment didn't really work anymore. So the current
First of all, you were locked in your apartment.
Yeah, first of all,
which is quite scary. This can be a little bit weird. When you try to leave your house, you actually get dressed, you know? You get ready to go out. You're ready to go work, you're ready to go cast GSL, you open your door and you're stuck in your own house.
I was suddenly
and you can't climb out the window.
I couldn't get out or nothing, so I found a solution how I could actually force the door open a little bit by pressing one of those bolts back.
Listen, this sounds like a fire hazard, man.
Because I needed to go to GSL, I needed to cast with you the early session.
Exactly.
And then I'm out and the electronic lock suddenly closed again. I'm like, okay, maybe it just was a malfunction, let's try if I can open it again. Maybe now everything is fine. No, turns out the lock is broken, so now currently I'm locked out. And I couldn't just leave the door open because, well, we were casting, so I have
don't want
a few
somebody
things
to come
in the apartment that I would like to keep.
That sounds scary, though. Like, I'm glad there wasn't a fire or anything like that.
Don't get me started. Well, and in the end now, the first time that they can change the lock is tomorrow morning, so I'm homeless for tonight, and all I want to have after this long travel is a good night's sleep. But, well,
yeah.
Back to StarCraft.
Exactly. Back to StarCraft, at least for a little while here, before you get to be homeless. Let's look at the race distribution. A lot of Protosses in Code A, 19 of them to be exact. Terran and Zerg distribution pretty even. And, you know, you can see a lot of familiar faces and names in there. A lot of new Kespa faces as well, though.
And here we have our first-time players in this season. We have Labyrinth, one of the guys that just qualified, as did the others, and made a bit of a splash. Reality, we've seen him when the Kespa players first started to play StarCraft 2. It was pretty good back then. Fell off the grid a little bit now in Code A. And of course we also have Trust, who was able to 2-0 Genius today, Arthur, Tier, and you have our Zerg players here as well.
Notice we only have one player, in fact, who, out of all these players, is teamless right now for the first timer. It's Arthur. Used to be on Slayers, was personally sponsored by Razer earlier before that. So we'll see how well he does. He played one time, I think, ever in the booth, and it was in Slayer's final match in GSL. So you can see there's a lot of good players down there in the Zergs. We didn't mention all their names, so you guys can read them off. You recognize, I'm sure, a lot of them, like Shine, for example, and of course Sue. But the lineup of players we have in this season of Code A is just getting better and better. And with a total of 12 new players, that just adds a new interesting element. You know, basically every round we got a new face.
And here are the results that we had earlier today in our early session. We had Genius, who fell to Trust without taking a single map. He's now in Code B. Young was able to take out Finale with a quick 2-0. Really, really fast games. And then we headed into our first Protoss vs. Zerg.
Yeah, Protoss vs. Zerg turned out for the better for Hero. Yu-Gi-Oh! With some cool strategies, but at the end of the day, Hero's decision-making was a little bit too much for him. In our final series, we had Avenge play a really weird game against TY in game number 1. Game number 2, a little bit more straight up, just going for a big Immortal push after scouting his opponent, and TY just couldn't hold.
Yep. Therefore, we had all of the games ending with a 2-0, and here are the matches that we are gonna watch closely within the next few hours. We have YongHwa versus Reality. We have Jaedong up against Lore. Huck has to deal with Shine, the Samsung Khan Shine that is, not the former TSL Shine. And here is also the last but not least match of the day is Yoda versus Tier.
I think big favorites in this group are the three first players on the left side, YongHwa, Jaedong, and Huck. YongHwa and Jaedong, of course, flying for up and downs, and Huck able to get through his up and down group into Code S, but not making the best performance there, falling down into Code A.
And here's our first game today. We have Reality versus YongHwa. YongHwa in his up and down group played really, really disappointing and was completely off. But apparently, as we found out later, he had an issue with some condition with his eye, so it was really difficult for him to play. So today he has another chance of proving himself after he was crowned like the GSTL all-killer. he is dealing with a Casper player that we haven't seen for a while here in the GSL.
Yeah, Reality is someone we've seen in WCS Korea. He attempted to qualify, did really well after doing so, and became the first Casper player, in fact, to qualify for WCS Korea, if I'm not mistaken. That was a while ago now. Feels like it was forever ago, but it actually wasn't that long ago, if you think back. But
yeah, half a year, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
roughly.
It seems like a lifetime, but it really wasn't.
Well, Reality was especially able to surprise when he played the qualifiers for WCS, but the WCS Korea qualifier, the qualifier for the qualifier.
Qualifier for the qualifier.
And he took out Symbol, who was at his peak at that time, with quite impressive play. Now he's up against YongHwa, and YongHwa, chest out, he's ready. And our first map is Neo Planet S, a Espa map, a Pro League map, and I'm really excited for this game, Wolf. This is going to be good.
This is going to be so good, man. See who's going to take this series. YongHwa, definitely the favorite, I would say, but Reality has shown great Terran versus Protoss in the past. The map, Neo Planet S, a very big one. When we see a lot of Terran versus Terran on in Pro League. This is the starting map. Both these players have no choice. They have to play on this one.
You know, to me it's a little bit different. YongHwa, in my eyes, has to prove himself to me today because the last few times when I casted him, he actually disappointed me. I had high expectations. Today it's a little bit different, but the problem is we don't know how severe this eye infection or this eye condition was, if it really affected him or not, but we're gonna find out today. Reality, can he do it, or will YongHwa prevail and join in the second round of today? We're gonna find out right now in the GSL today with Callum.
And here is our Protoss player from the team LGIM, the all-killer. He is
LGIM YongHwa.
YongHwa with a 64% win ratio. That's, by the way, not him. This is actually his opponent.
Somebody pressed the wrong button. There he is. Always looks a little bit sleepy. Look at those eyes.
Yeah.
His opponent is really him in the blue for the team Samsung Khan. It is
Samsung Khan Reality.
Maybe now we get a shot of Legend.
There he is, in the blue jersey as well. Sporting the Galaxy S3 patch. Pretty good phone. Good friends use that phone here in Korea. Yeah. Now, you know, this map is huge. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it as well, and a lot of you guys out there probably watched it in Code S and, of course, in Pro League. It's a map where timing attacks are not so popular. It's usually a map that goes to late game because it's just so big. It takes forever to get across the map, whether you're flying or walking.
The other thing about this map is also we've seen, especially with all the newer maps, I mean, this map has been a little bit around in Pro League, of course, but every single time you have a new map, there are so many new strategies that you can go for. You need to find out the overlord patterns from a Zerg play. You need to find out where exactly you can hide a probe, what kind of proxy positions you have that are really tempting. So this is something that is definitely still the case for this map as well. And I'm very excited to see how YongHwa is going to do, because Reality has probably played a lot more matches on this map than YongHwa did.
Yeah, I agree. YongHwa having to learn this map fairly recently, as soon as it was announced as a GSL map. Quick scout here for Realities and see what YongHwa is doing. Looks like he's going for some sort of Reaper build.
Yeah, Reality currently with a tech lab at the barracks, and this definitely lends itself to us thinking that we are going to see a Reaper for scouting purposes and maybe taking down a few of the probes. So let's see how much he's going to... Oh, actually, he's going not for a person. No, he's not going for a Reaper expand. He's going straight into Marauder and concussive shells from one barracks.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going to do a Marauder expand, which is similar to the Reaper expand, except rather than scouting, you use it just to put a little bit of pressure on your opponent's front, which gives you some scouting information. For example, does he have a Nexus or not? Then you just make a command center back at home and start stim.
And, well, if that's, for example, only Stalkers, you skip the Zealot and you have only Stalkers, then that can do a lot of damage initially, a lot of pressure, where you will make eventually a few mistakes and slip and your opponent getting a lead on you. So right now we have him with the second Marauder being produced. Concussive Shells is nearly ready, and with good Micro he can do quite a lot.
Yeah, it's true. Marauder can take out a Stalker, has a slightly faster build time, so it kind of makes up for the fact that it has to walk so far across the map. Good scouting so far from Reality. Checking around, and if he catches the Stalker here...
And he will.
Oh, wow. And you know what? The key thing in here is not all he has to do is target down. YongHwa makes a smart choice to turn around and fire. A lot of players would just run, but he's got the Reaper Fall, which is going to give him vision of the high ground here. This is so smart that he can actually pick off the sentry potentially.
If he is able to pick up the sentry, this would be the worst case scenario for YongHwa. YongHwa already losing the Stalker is in a spot where he's not too happy. He knows exactly that this is exactly what he tried to avoid now. But for him the big problem is, and you actually touched on the point, him turning around and doing some damage was really important here because that can be decisive. But now we have this bunker. It's gonna be revealed now, so he knows what's coming here. But this is something where reality just looks at these units like, okay, well, I know what's coming, but how on earth am I supposed to stop that?
Yeah, exactly. At this point, YongHwa is just kind of hanging out with his first few units. His next Stalker's out, so he's going to come down the line here with his probes. Targeting on that Stalker, nicely done. The bunker finishes, he gets inside, but he doesn't get the Marauder inside. A bit of a mistake there. Now he runs the Marine out, needs to put that back in.
And the SCV is also done. The Reaper is heading into the main base. One of the Stalkers gets being pulled off, but already a lot of damage done here. And this is really putting a lot of pressure on his opponent. Gets all the scouting information that he needs in the main base, is able to pick up another probe. But if you just look at it, YongHwa is still able to defend here quite well because the SCV was killed.
Yes.
And the second Marauder not able to get into
the
the
second
bunker.
Marauder were in the bunker instead of the Marine. That would have been a very different story. A lot more probes would have gone down.
Yeah.
But as it is, he's even in Harvester count, which is never a position you want to be in as a Frost. You want to be able to use that Chrono Boost to get ahead with the Mules, with the double CC. And even though there's already a Robo up for YongHwa, the Stim is almost done for Reality, so that kind of counteracts each other. The tech is pretty even for these two players. I would put Reality at a slight advantage in this game.
I completely agree with you here. Reality with a lot of... He initiated this game. He set the pace for the game now. We have him with the play up to this point. YongHwa, on the other hand, now being on two bases and with the double pro production, is going straight into the robotic space. So we could see him with a push here with Colossi, trying to hit a time. We're going to find out pretty soon if he's actually going for it or if he will add additional tech. But at this point, the problem for Reality is that his tech, disregarding Stim, is delayed. The factory just now finishing.
Yeah. And, I mean, the robotic support bay here can be used for multiple things. YongHwa can make one Colossus, then go into Double Forge, Templar Tech type play. Double Forge goes down now. If he just adds one Colossus, he should be able to defend against drop play. Starts another Observer. So he's just got the ability to make a Colossus whenever he wants it. Going for Forges. Oh, nice scan here by Reality. Losing that Observer means, yeah, he got the information about where the starport was, or how far along it is, where's, you know, what's his production at, but he's not going to be able to hang around and get any more vision of his opponent.
You can really see that YongHwa is now opting for a more later stage of the game. He's going in straight into the Double Forge, so he will be able to get ahead in the upgrade count. But all those units that Reality sends across the map, if you catch your opponent off guard, then you definitely can do damage. The thing is that YongHwa is now already chrono boosting his first Colossus. And if he gets that Colossus out in time, attacks with Marines become so much weaker, but the timing that Reality uses here will give him an opportunity to do damage before the Colossus joins the battle.
Yeah, he's going to want to pick off these units in the front. If YongHwa force shields correctly, he should be able to buy enough time to get that Colossus out, but it's all about these force shields. That's a pretty wide choke. In fact, I wouldn't even call it a choke point, really. He's going to have to use, I think, 3.5 to 4 force shields to block those units out, so...
Yeah, Reality is a little bit cautious here. He doesn't know exactly what to expect at this point. He's now slowly starting to move in, but with him hesitating a little bit, he allowed YongHwa to get the first Colossus into play, and this will change things.
Yeah, he didn't even have to use any of his force shields either, so this is a great position now for YongHwa. Essentially, we're starting to get maxed out on energy. 1-1 upgrades on the way. One attack upgrade will be done for Reality, but this is not an attack you can really make work against good force shields. Even with the metabags, this is going to be tough to actually execute.
Yeah, can he stim in? He's trying to, but YongHwa sees what's going on. He has an observer in position, and now he can force field. He knows already where his opponent and when he will strike. Well played so far by YongHwa. Nice hold, but it's not over yet.
Yeah, he needs to make sure he keeps that Colossus alive. Second Colossus joins the battle.
Too much.
And way too much, but Reality with a good pickup here. Not a ton of units to actually attack the metabags. Reality losing a few units, I think a little bit of a mismicro there trying to get into the metabag.
And now he knows what's going on. He's like, wait a second, that was way too perfect. You shouldn't have been able to hit those force fields so well. You must have known that I'm coming. So he scans, he sees the observer, takes it out. And it was so nice for him that he actually is able to sneak past the vision of YongHwa up to the point where he decides to fly right into the observer.
Exactly. Just YongHwa having good vision on the map, having this observer here as well to spot these drops allows him to move his stalkers in position. But on the same hand, Reality has a factory doing the same thing for him, which I really like. The scouting factor is oftentimes used to find out if there's a third base. But in this case, it tanks a little bit of damage. It also covers the army, hiding its numbers, but most importantly gives vision. Where is YongHwa's army? Is it all the natural? Is it in the main? Is that the ramp? Where can I drop? Where's a weak point?
Weak points, openings, looking for something that he can exploit. But so far, YongHwa playing a very turtly two-base style here, where he tries to, where he actually defends on all fronts. He knows exactly what Reality is trying to do here, and he's trying to go for those +2/+2 upgrades and then move out. He's already claiming the front of his base, but this drop, if that Doom drop actually hits home.
Yeah, that's what that probe is for, as well as the Observer. There was one blind spot, and he went and covered it. Yeah. And with all of YongHwa's using all of his chrono energy now. Now they had enough Colossi after them to do that. He's been using all of his chrono energy. He still is on those upgrades. He's getting really, really far ahead. 2-2 is going to be a little bit more than halfway down when Reality's +1 upgrades are already done. Look at this Colossus count. Way too much now. Needs to turn with the Vikings. Really good micro by YongHwa here. Incredible, in fact.
Yeah, YongHwa, on the other hand, at this point, he didn't have a lot of Stalkers with his army, so he needed to be really careful. There were only 3 Vikings, and this saved the Colossi. Blinking up into the main base, expecting another drop.
Yeah, he sees it with the Observer.
Exactly, at the top left, he sees it, but he has to be careful that he still has a few Stalkers at the bottom to kill those Vikings.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is actually what YongHwa is now having to multitask. Like you said, no Stalkers on the low ground, so he couldn't deal with the Vikings. The Stalkers on the main, so he moves them back, blinks them down. Then he sees the drop with the Observer, moves them back in. The Observer can still see this drop, and I think Reality doesn't realize this. He's going to lose this drop.
Yeah, he has no idea that there's...
Blink?
Yeah, there's the blink, and he takes out the Medivacs. Reality had no idea there's an Observer, and this Observer, it paid its weight in gold. That was so well done by YongHwa. A great positioning here, great scout. Yep. And from this defensive position, he now takes his third base, he takes a huge lead in upgrades. You have him now about to complete +2/+2, whereas Reality just started his own upgrades.
The only real advantage that Reality has in this game, and I wouldn't even call it an advantage necessarily, but the only edge he has is that he has a third base that YongHwa doesn't know about, he hasn't scouted yet. So YongHwa may be thinking with all the pressure he's been facing that Reality has a delayed third, but that base has been up for a while. He has a forward pylon he could use to try to harass, but there's already a wall going up. Reality very prepared to deal with this, and you know, YongHwa is going to have to make something happen fairly soon. I thought he was going to actually try to go out with 2-2 and do some damage, but if he lets Reality still in this base, Reality will be able to catch back up on when he lost.
YongHwa is trying to go for the later stage now with +3/+3 being started, but he can, if he hits those timings well, we've seen Creator do this several times, then he can do a lot of damage, and he's just setting the groundwork now. We have him with Charge, we also saw a completed Templar Archive, and with that Warp Prism he has something that he can use to just create another warp endpoint to the left side at the natural. We have a pylon at the bottom right where he can go straight for his opponent's third, but this leaves a lot of aggressive potential for YongHwa that he could use later on.
Yeah, notice that the supply goes heavily into Reality's favor though. With that faster third and all the production he was able to build up, he has a massive lead in supply, and that's also partially because YongHwa's been spending so much resource on tech and adding these gateways. Like 4 gateways, getting 3 out right now. But once all that production hits, he's going to be able to power out units and catch up very quickly. The question is, will Reality give him that opportunity, or is he going to just put constant aggression on with this massive Bioforce right now?
Currently the supply is a fairly even. Reality, having a bit of an edge over his opponent here. 9 Vikings against 4 Colossi, and one of the things that we don't have just yet is Storm. He's relying, or he wants to rely on Archons later on against the Vikings, trying to lure them over the beefy units and then take them out. But Storm is not part of the match just yet, so he can't use that against his opponent's bio and against the Vikings to zone them out. And he's just trying to buy himself the time for the upgrades. +3 armor is nearly completed. Both of them actually playing now really passive.
Yeah. And this is what happens on this map oftentimes. It's hard to attack. If you look at the minimap just on your computer right now, it looks like, oh yeah, they can walk across, but you have to go around this weird gap in the middle of the map that has a SK Telecom butterfly on it. You got to go through a choke point. Then to get out of the middle, you have to go through another choke point. So you never want to fight through the middle if you can help it. And even on the edges, there are more and more ramps, so you have to engage just perfectly. You have to make sure you're always aware of where your opponent's army is, or you're going to take a bad engagement.
And YongHwa is moving in with +3/+3. Perfect timing. As soon as the upgrades are done, he's moving in. Has a massive lead here. Needs to be careful though. In this position, it's not going to be easy for him, but a clumped up Terran army. Here come those Colossi landing their damage, and the Vikings trying to take them out as fast as possible. But in supply, currently YongHwa miles ahead of Reality.
The upgrades are really making a big point to push that army back. 3-3 versus 2-2 right now, and I think YongHwa's done it even without having very many Archons in the mix. Stalkers alone now are going to battle through this. Great Blink Stalker might hear the Archon charges through. A few more Zealots coming in as well. He's got that Warp Prism. 8 more Zealots warping in, and Reality may be out of steam here. He has already lost some of the SMEs. He pulled them offline at 71 to 43, and I think this game is over.
Yeah, it definitely is. He's down to 72 supply right now. We have YongHwa with a force that cannot just push into his opponent's base. We talked already about the Harvesters that he lost at this point, and there it is, the inevitable GG. Well played by YongHwa.
Yeah, really nice
timing.
done. Showing that he knows how to play the late game in this matchup really, really well, especially on a map like this. Never overextending, taking perfect defense on his Observer to the top, swatting those drops over and over again. Allowed me to know, when do I need my Stalkers in the main? When do I need them to deal with the Vikings? Really good multitasking.
A very nice hold at first, making sure that Reality didn't get any openings. Great scouting with the probe as well. Moving in, looking again as his Observer was picked off the first one, and then hitting the perfect 3-3 timing, making sure that the upgrade lead is winning him the fight and therefore the game.
Looking very happy with himself after that win. On the other hand, Reality finds himself alone.
Yeah, no love here.
No, not even his lovely coach. Not to come in there and talk to him. He wants to be alone here, it looks like.
Coach is actually backstage watching the match. Saw him earlier. And well, let's find out if Reality can put this into a third game. Belcher Vestige is going to be map number 2.
Yep, and I mean, this is a map where it's tougher for us to take a third base. I would not be surprised to see YongHwa hit some sort of 2-base timing here. Maybe even a similar push to what we saw earlier, an Immortal push like what we saw from Startail Avenge. The Reality, on the other hand, is probably expecting something like this. He studied a lot of games on this map for sure. That's what Kessel players do. They're pairing really nice blowers and studying the strategies of their opponents in different matchups on different maps. The maps you have to face, there's 3 of them. And when you know you're going to a best 3, one map you're going to have to play no matter what is map number 2.
Yeah, Belcher Vestige, and this is the game that we are witnessing now. Jumping right into the game here, the GSL Code A. YongHwa versus Reality. Columbo.